Wonderful. Let's talk to her. Zoleka, good evening to you. I thought I heard you, just as we were wrapping this, getting a quick word with the minister. And I think your question to him was, you have been longing for this day. Did you put everything across that you wanted to? How did he respond?
That's correct, Xoli. In fact, it was our colleague Nasipi Same who posed that question to the minister after he finished his first day of evidence in chief before the ad hoc committee that's tasked with investigating and looking at the veracity of these claims in terms of the criminal justice system and whether that, to what extent that has in fact been infiltrated by criminal elements. Now, he told Nasipi Same that essentially it was so far so good for him and that he was satisfied at this current juncture with the submissions that he has made before the ad hoc committee. And so tomorrow we are expecting a continuation of those submissions. But I think today there were key submissions that he made in relation to the constitutionality of his decision, what he thinks is unlawful in relation to that or lawful in relation to his directive for the disbandment of the political killings task team. And more importantly, Xoli, is how he actually arrived at that decision. Of course, the deputy, or rather the National Police Commissioner for the country, that's Fani Masemola, had said that the decision or the directive by the minister to issue that directive for him impeded on that separation of powers principle because it spoke about operational matters in relation to the disbandment of the political killings task team, but also for the cessation of filling of posts, or that moratorium of posts, of filling of posts in the crime intelligence unit. And so Fani Masemola has previously said that that was operational and that the minister had no power or authority to actually issue such a directive. Now, the minister today says that he, in fact, believes that he actually did have the powers. And how he sees that is that his powers are derived from Section 206, subsection 1 of the Constitution, which grants the minister or empowers the minister with the authority to actually determine national policing policy after he has consulted with provincial governments. And so that is where he says his power is derived from, and that is a constitutional provision that actually grants him that power. Now, there have been disputes around that because the National Police Commissioner says that because his directive has a direct impact on the operational affairs of the SAPS, that is the investigations that would be taking place, it obviously impedes on that separation of powers doctrine, and also ensures that the police service is not able to fulfill their mandate as prescribed in Section 205, subsection 3 of the Constitution, to combat, prevent, and investigate crime. But the minister believes differently and says that, in fact, the word immediately in the directive did not mean now, essentially, using a metaphor or an analogy of a car and saying that it doesn't mean that one ought to halt their car or stop their car in the middle of the road. I'm not sure if that analogy holds any water, but it will be for the ad hoc committee to decide. Let's just listen to some of the interactions that the minister had in relation to the powers that he has to actually issue such a directive when he was asked by the chief evidence leader, Advocate Norman Arendse.
So it's a decision I took, and I'm responsible for it, and I stand by it. That I will deal, of course, with the constitutionality and lawfulness thereof. But in terms of reaching that decision and writing it, if there's one person to talk about on it, it's me. Let's not look for some people who are in the corner. In the writing and transmitting my decision, there are only 3 people who were involved. One, it was the chief of staff in my office, because I didn't want to personalize it to a point where I simply write from home and I wanted the office to host it, but we're not together with the chief of staff. So I said, here is the letter. Send it to the special advisor, Advocate Piccoli, who was in Pretoria. And the letter was sent to him. And he looked at it, he made some inputs. It went back to Chief of Staff with those corrections. He sent them to me, I read it, and I said, go ahead. That's the process. So don't look any further for any reason. Even if you somehow believe that I have no capacity to write that letter for some reason, I don't think that there is any engineering of anything in.
All right, that is the minister who is on special leave, Minister of Police, Senzo Mchunu.